us hairy game lords in a lockdown way have been playing this Merchants of Infinity. What do we think? Find out. Bearded lady. And first up, I have to say, oh my days. That artwork is something else. Wow. Oh yes. This is by Rogue Artist Creations. And us Hairy Game Lords really enjoyed the first game that came out, the Top Hats and Treachery. Really enjoyed that game. Lots of fun in it. We have, I think, a live playthrough of that somewhere on our channel. Check it out. So we got sent through the prototype, and this is a prototype for this latest game that's coming out on Kickstarter later on this year. Straight off the bat, this prototype, you can tell some money's been spent on it because it is so nice. It feels like an end product. It's really, really nice. Even comes with an insert, and all the components are just great, really good. And that artwork, the artwork that you see on the box, carries on throughout. It's on the cards, it's on the board. It's nice, really, really nice. So this is a 1 to 5 player game for ages 8+. Takes about 30 to 90 minutes to play. And because we're in a lockdown situation, I have played this solo. So as a 1 player game, what did I think? Well, I really, really enjoyed it. Rulebook is straightforward. Nice to read through, doesn't take too long. Some nice descriptions in there of everything that you will encounter in the game, and it has some really I found it easy to learn, and I believe it will be easy to teach as well. The board is really clear and nice, and there's quite a number of different things for you to do on each and every part of your go. These obviously are prototypes, but boy, are they cool to play with. That's a great prototype. Some proper chunky meeples. And then you've got different coin values. Now these coins are the victory points as well. So there's a cog deck. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. The vortex bar, which is where you can go and each turn and get additional jobs, effectively earning yourself more coin, more victory points. And then there are ship orders, and these are also where you'll get predominantly most of your coin and victory points from. Really, really nice. So basically you're placing your meeples, your workers, down on the board in certain locations to unlock scoring potential. So in the center of the board is this big circle, and on there is where all these resources are. You get to place your meeple on a resource, and then hopefully you'll be able to collect all of those resources before they fill up from plays of other players to unlock one of those ship orders, and maybe even an additional extra side mission from the vortex bar. So there are other places where you can place your meeples on the board. There's a place at the top for additional help, and one of the things I really like about this game is you can make it so it's a little bit take that. On the top right of the board there's a whole section which, if you want to, and if the rest of the team want to play, then you can bring that in and pieces can be placed on there, and it can create a bit of that kind of take that atmosphere. So what I like about it is that you don't have to go there, you don't have to have that, but it's there for those types of players. And us Hairy Game Lords are those types of players. there's an element in this game which I really like. It's kind of a little bit of a meta game. So there's a game within the game itself. Now, obviously, you're placing down your meeples in certain locations, and those resources, depending on how many you're playing with, can only hold so many meeples before they become exhausted. There is an option where you can spend money and go to auction, but then, of course, you might end up spending a lot more money than you want. And remember, although you need money to get through the game, that money is your victory points at the end of the game also. So, tough decisions. So what's really important is making sure that you get to go first in placing all of those meeples. And so that's where this kind of little game within a game takes place. The beginning of each round, there is a game of cogs. It's like these cards here, look, that's a 0. It's not great. This one here, +1. Hello, +3. Yeah. And then there are other little things as well. Oh, check this bad boy out. +4. Nice. So everyone has these cards. You start off with so many, and then you get to pick one up each go. Everybody plays them down, face down. You can play one or more cards. It's up to you. Some of those cards will have special things on them, like double the last card played, swap two players' hands, break the cogs of another player so that they can't score. And you can buy additional cards if you want to, but of course that's victory points. And then, so basically you are playing down these cards. Person with the most cogs wins and gets to go first. So I actually really enjoyed that aspect of that kind of little game there. You're seeing who gets to go first into the marketplace, who gets to go first to, well, all of these different brilliant locations. You can go off and get a awesome ship order worth 35 points. But you've got to be the first one there. Excellent. So good. I, as I've already said, played the single player game, the solo game, and initially I was thinking, man, this is really easy. There's no real kind of competition here between me and the game. That was until we counted up at the end and the game had beaten me. But not only a little bit, it had thrashed me. Second game I played, similar. I was a little bit more aware of, well, what was happening and what was going on. But again, it was still a tough bout against the game. I would love to play and look forward to playing this game with more players, and I'm sure it will be a great hit with the Hairy Game Lords. As a solo play, I really enjoyed it. This game is one certainly to look out for. If you like games that look good, but also like the theme that carries through, here it is. If you like a kind of a meta game going on inside the additional game, there we go. You also then have that kind of like resource management, set collection. What I really like is you've got this wheel here that as each turn happens, it moves and it increases or decreases the value of certain resources. So you can plan ahead in terms of what you can see this turn and what may be coming in next turns, on whether or not you feel it's that important to go first. Maybe you want to save yourself a killer hand of cogs because you can see that on the next turn or maybe the turn after, the resources that you need to get for this shipment order are going to be worth a heck of a lot more coin on that go. All in all, this is a good game. There's lots going on, but it's easy to understand and very easy to teach.
Hi there, it's Pete the Hipster King from the Hairy Game Lords. So, what did I think about it? Well, I love worker placement games, and there are a lot of worker placement games about. So, did Merchants of Infinity bring something new, or was it just a standard fodder? Well, I really like two elements that I've not seen in many worker placements. One I've never seen, and one that I really enjoyed. The first thing that I thought was brilliant about Merchant of Infinity is how you decide who's going to go first. Now, in most worker placement games, it's a place that you go to. So you put you spend one of your workers, missing out on all the other opportunities of gaining resources or different actions that you can have, in any worker placement games. But in this one, the idea is that you're up in space. You're kind of taking valuable resources from different areas in space, and you're kind of in this space station where there's a bar and there's all these kind of space pilots and pirates and all these types of different kind of space characters around that will want your resources and give you orders and things like that, and you're building things together. And the way you decide who's going to be first is you're playing cards. So there's a game within the game, and I really like that. So you have this little simple game called Cogs, and it's basically the person who gets the highest score. You decide at the start how many cards you're going to play versus how many cards the other player's going to play, and that's a little bit of resource management too. How much do I want to go first on the next turn? Am I going to throw a lot of my cards down because you've only got a few in your hand, and once they're gone, they're gone? The only way to get more cards is to either buy them or to go use one of your pawns to regain cards to be able to gain that first player. So there's a whole lot of choice in there, but going first in this game is vital, because as with any worker placement games, places are limited. So you can only get two resources from each resource space. So really enjoyed that little mechanic that just made it something different from your standard worker placement. Another thing I really liked, and I always like games with a market in them, this has got a market, so the resources change cost each round. So picking when and where to get your resources for that round is important, because if you just sell the resources and they're high cost, obviously you get some money, but sometimes the lower resources are going to be the ones that fewer people are after. But if you take the right cards, which are the orders, if you grab a couple of orders because you could see what's going to be low price value coming up, you might be able to have more chance of getting the resources you need. So really like that as well. And the other bit that I really enjoyed, which some people won't, obviously in worker placement there's already that little bit of take that in terms of battling for those spaces and being first on to fill those spaces so your opponents can't get what they need. But in this game you've also got a corner of the board, you don't have to use it, it's the Nova section, which has got a whole load of spaces that you can place your workers, and you can only place one on these, so they are one-shot uses. So if you get there first you get to use them. But there's some really nice things that you can throw your opponents under the bus. If you notice your opponent's going after a really big score this round, place one of your workers on one of the squares in the Nova zone, and you can get a fifth of the money they earn that round. Absolutely brilliant. My son saw what I was doing and he got there quickly, and I think I made something like 50 coins, platinum coins in that turn, and I lost 10 of them straight away. Outrageous. But that allows for a bit of swing in the game. Really enjoyed this. So, Merchants of Infinity, it's a brilliant worker placement game. It brings a number of additional mechanics to what is a type of game that a lot of people love. I love worker placement. Would I have this in my collection? Absolutely. It added 2 or 3 new mechanics to a worker placement I've not seen in that grouped together in that kind of game, and made it a hell of a lot of fun. Artwork, spot on. I love the big plastic meeples of translucent, different coloured plastic meeples. Felt very sci-fi, very space age, and just the number of options you had available to you, yet managing them really carefully to get the most out of each one of your turns, and adding cogs in at the beginning to decide, feeling like you are kind of like a merchant in space, playing cards over a drink to battle to get out and start trading first. Thought that was brilliant. Big thumbs up from this hairy game lord.
So, take a look out for this coming to Kickstarter later on this year and get involved.